1. Let me tell you about this 1972 Chevy C20 I found on Facebook Marketplace. For $14,000, you're looking at a piece of classic American trucking history that's been given some love under the hood. The seller, Bobby, is upfront about it. This isn't a perfect show truck, but it's got character. They've dropped in a rebuilt 350 engine with just 6,000 miles on it, paired with a turbo 350 transmission and 4x4 capability. The blue-on-blue color combo is classic, and while it's not pristine, it's described as a solid truck with power steering and power brakes. Plus, it's got an RV cam, which should give it some nice performance characteristics. What I appreciate here is the seller's honesty. They're straight up telling us it's not a shop queen, which means you're getting a functional classic rather than a museum piece. The clean title is definitely a plus, and there's no significant damage reported. For someone looking for a vintage C20 that they can actually use rather than just show off, this could be a solid choice. The price point seems reasonable for a running, driving classic truck with a fresh engine rebuild, especially in today's market. Remember though, as with any classic vehicle, you'll want to see it in person and maybe get a mechanic's opinion before making a decision. But overall, this seems like an honest representation of a working classic truck. 2. Let's talk about this 1983 Ford F-150 I spotted on Facebook Marketplace. For $6,000, you're looking at a classic workhorse with some interesting features. Let me be straight with you. This truck has lived a life with 95,000 miles on the clock, but there's good news here. The 351 Windsor engine has been rebuilt, which is a big plus, and the 4x4 system has also been refreshed. That's significant value right there. The red-on-red color scheme is classic 80s style, and while the interior is described as decent, let's be honest about that hole in the dash from a previous speaker installation. It's not perfect, but that's part of what makes these old trucks real. Having both gas tanks still working is actually pretty rare for these old Fords, as they often have issues with the dual tank system. At $6,000, considering today's inflated classic truck market, this seems reasonable for a running and driving F-150 with a rebuilt engine and 4x4 system. Two previous owners suggest it hasn't been passed around too much, and being paid off means a clean title situation. This isn't a show truck, but it appears to be a solid, functional classic F-150 that could serve as either a project truck or a usable classic. The 351 Windsor is a respected engine, known for its reliability and decent power. Just remember, like any 40-year-old vehicle, it'll need regular attention and care, but that's part of the classic truck experience. 3. Let's talk about this 1970 Chevy C10 that's caught my eye on Facebook Marketplace. For $6,000, you're looking at a piece of classic American iron with some interesting modifications. The orange exterior with off-white interior is a bold, period-correct combination that really captures that 70s vibe. Let's be honest about what we're looking at here. It's running a 305 V8, which isn't the most powerful engine option these trucks came with, but it's known for reliability. The 4-speed manual transmission adds a fun factor that many enthusiasts appreciate. The 3.5 drop, 3 inches in front, 5 in rear, gives it that classic lowered stance that's popular with these C10s. The seller has done some recent maintenance work, which is good to hear. New spark plugs and wires, fresh tires, new valve cover gaskets, and a new fuel tank. These are all practical updates that show the truck has been cared for. With 85,000 miles and only 2 previous owners, it suggests this truck hasn't been passed around too much. At $6,000, considering the current market for classic trucks, this seems like a fair price for a running, driving C10 with some desirable modifications. It's not a show truck, but it appears to be a solid driver that you could enjoy while gradually improving it. The fact that it's ready to drive home is a big plus. Many classics in this price range often need trailering. Remember, this is a 53-year-old truck, so expect some quirks and regular maintenance, but that's part of the classic truck experience. If you're looking for a classic C10 with a bit of style and don't mind the modest power of the 305, this could be worth checking out. 4. Let me tell you about this interesting 1982 Chevy C30 HD tow truck I found on Marketplace. For $8,500, you're looking at a working piece of automotive history that's been seriously maintained. Let me be completely honest here. Yes, it's got 221,382 miles on it, but for a commercial vehicle that's been properly maintained, that's not necessarily a deal breaker. What's really impressive is the list of new parts and maintenance that's been done. The seller has basically rebuilt this truck's crucial systems: new 10-ply tires, carburetor, radiator, clutch, ball joints, pitman arm, tie rods, and even a new windshield. The 350 V8 with a 2-barrel carb is described as running smoothly with no oil consumption, smoke, or concerning noises. That's important for a working truck. The brown exterior with tan interior might not win any beauty contests, but this is a working truck, and what matters is functionality. All the towing equipment, the wheel lift, boom, and winch, is fully operational, and the new aftermarket gauges mean you can actually trust your instrument readings, which is crucial for a commercial vehicle. At $8,500, considering all the new parts and its ready-to-work status, this could be a solid investment for someone looking to get into the towing business or needing a reliable recovery vehicle. The manual transmission might seem old school, but it's actually preferred by many for towing work. The seller seems very straightforward and honest about the truck's condition, which is refreshing. They're even open to trading for a full-size truck of equal value, but they're specific about wanting only Chevy or GMC, which suggests they know and trust these brands. This isn't a showpiece, it's a working truck that's been maintained to do its job, and for someone looking for a functional classic tow truck, this could be a really practical choice. 5. Let's talk about this 1985 GMC Sierra 1500 I found on Marketplace. I'm going to be completely straight with you about this one. For $6,000, you're looking at what the seller honestly describes as a work in progress. The big positive here is the fresh 350 engine with only 2,000 miles on it. That's a significant plus point. The truck comes with some nice conveniences like power windows and locks, which is pretty fancy for an '85 model. Being a 4x4 crew cab with a long bed, it's definitely got utility on its side. Now let's be real about the condition. This truck is currently in primer, waiting for paint, and the seller is upfront about needing bodywork. That's something you'll need to factor into your budget if you want it looking sharp. They don't show the interior color in the listing, which might be telling. At $6,000, you're essentially buying potential here. You're getting a solid platform with a fresh engine and working 4x4 system, but be prepared to invest more in bodywork and paint. The crew cab long bed configuration is less common and desirable for some collectors, but super practical if you need the space. This isn't a show truck, at least not yet, but it could be a good project for someone who wants a working truck while gradually improving it. Just remember, when they say it needs bodywork, that usually means you'll need to budget for more than just paint. But with that fresh 350 under the hood, at least the heart of the truck is solid. For someone who's handy with bodywork or doesn't mind a truck with a few rough edges, this could be a decent deal, especially considering today's inflated classic truck market. 6. Let's talk about this 1982 Chevy K10 that's up for $7,000 on Marketplace. This is an interesting one. It's a lifted truck with some serious modifications that's currently being used as a daily driver. Let's break down what we're looking at here. With 58,000 miles, the mileage is surprisingly low for a 41-year-old truck. It's running a 350 engine with a Holley 4-barrel carb, which is a solid combination for power and reliability. The 4-speed manual transmission adds to the fun factor, and the seller confirms the 4x4 system is working. The modifications are significant. You're looking at a combined 7 inches of lift, 4-inch suspension lift, plus a 3-inch body lift, and it's sitting on some serious rubber with those 22-inch gear off-road wheels wrapped in 35-inch tires. That's a pretty aggressive setup. The seller is being honest about their reason for selling. They need something more family-friendly, which makes sense given this is a regular cab truck with 3 kids in the picture. It's refreshing to see such straightforward motivation for a sale. At $7,000, considering the modifications and the fact it's a running driving classic K10 with working forked 4, the price seems reasonable in today's market. However, potential buyers should note that lifted trucks often come with their own set of maintenance considerations. Things like ball joints, tie rods, and driveline components tend to wear faster on lifted vehicles. This isn't a pristine stock restoration. It's a modified classic truck that's been built for presence and capability. If you're looking for a classic K10 with some attitude that you can actually drive daily, this could be worth checking out. Just remember that those big wheels and tires won't give you the same ride quality as a stock setup, but that's often the trade-off for style. 7. Let's dive deep into this 1981 Chevy C10 I found on Marketplace for $8,500. I'll be completely straight with you about what we're looking at here, because this truck has some interesting aspects worth discussing. First off, with 50,000 miles showing, this is relatively low mileage for a 42-year-old truck. The seller has been using it as a daily driver until recently, which is actually a good sign. It means the truck is genuinely roadworthy, not just a pretty paperweight sitting in someone's garage collecting dust. It's been sitting for about a month, but prior to that, it was a reliable daily driver, which tells us a lot about its mechanical condition. They've put some meaningful work into it. We're talking practical upgrades like new brake lines and a new alternator. These are important safety and reliability improvements that often get overlooked in favor of cosmetic upgrades. The comfort upgrades are nice too. A reupholstered bench seat, modern Bluetooth radio, and door speakers make it more livable as a daily driver. Those new tires are another plus point that saves you an immediate expense, and good tires aren't cheap these days. The black exterior gives it a classic look, though they haven't specified the interior color, which might be worth asking about. The automatic transmission makes it more accessible for daily use compared to a manual, especially in today's traffic conditions. This generation of C10 is known for its clean lines and classic styling that has aged really well. At $8,500, with the seller open to negotiation, you're looking at a truck that's been maintained and upgraded with usability in mind. It's not a show truck, but it seems to be a solid driver that you could either enjoy as is or continue to improve over time. The market for these classic C10s has been climbing steadily, so this price point isn't unreasonable for a running driving example with recent updates. The seller is refreshingly honest about it being a project truck, but one that's already in usable condition. That's important. You're not buying a non-running project that needs everything. Instead, you're getting something you can drive while you make improvements at your own pace. The fact that they're upfront about it needing further modifications for personal preference shows transparency. For someone looking for a classic C10 that they can actually use while gradually making it their own, this could be a solid choice. These trucks are known for their relatively simple mechanics, good parts availability, and strong aftermarket support. Just remember to check all the usual wear points on a truck this age. Things like suspension components, steering linkages, and body mounts. But the recent maintenance history suggests it's been cared for. 8. Let's be completely honest about this 1984 Ford F-150 listed for $1,500. This is definitely a project truck, and the seller is being admirably upfront about its condition. The elephant in the room is the blown engine. The 300 inline-6 threw a rod through the oil pan, which is about as serious as engine failures get. That's not a repair job, that's a full engine replacement situation. The good news? The Ford 300 inline-6 is a common engine, and replacements aren't too hard to find. These engines are actually legendary for their reliability, which makes this failure a bit ironic. On the positive side, the truck has relatively low mileage at 90,000, and it comes with brand new tires that have barely been broken in, less than 20 miles on them. That's easily several $100s in value right there. The clean title is also a plus, as title issues can be a nightmare with older vehicles. At $1,500, you're essentially buying a rolling chassis with new tires. Is it worth it? Well, if you've got access to an engine and the skills, or a good mechanic, this blue Ford could be brought back to life. The 1984 F-150s are solid trucks with good parts availability, and they're relatively straightforward to work on. But let's be crystal clear, this is not a running truck, and it's not a quick fix. You're looking at a significant investment in both time and money to get it roadworthy again. If you're mechanically inclined and looking for a project, this could be a decent starting point. If not, you might want to keep looking for something that's actually running. Remember, sometimes the cheapest thing to buy ends up being the most expensive to fix. But for the right person with the right resources, this could be an opportunity to save a classic Ford pickup. 9. We're checking out this 1971 Ford F-100 that's popped up on Facebook Marketplace for $10,000 in San Antonio. Let me give you the real scoop on this classic pickup. This old workhorse has definitely seen its share of miles. We're talking 250,000 on the odometer, which is quite a journey for a 50-year-old truck. It's rocking a rather unique color combo with a turquoise exterior and green interior, which is definitely a product of its era. Under the hood, you've got a gasoline engine paired with an automatic transmission, making it a straightforward, no-fuss setup. Being completely honest with you, at 250k miles, you're looking at a truck that's likely going to need some TLC. These old F-100s are known for their durability, but with this many miles, you should expect to put some work into it. The price point of $10,000 means you'll want to thoroughly inspect everything, especially the transmission and engine components. The truck's being sold at Goose Automation in San Antonio, and it's paid off, which means clean and clear title work. Whether you're looking for a project truck or a piece of American automotive history, just remember, you're buying a half-century-old vehicle that's been well used. These trucks have great potential for restoration, but go in with your eyes wide open about what you might need to invest beyond the asking price. That's the straight story on this F-100, folks. No sugarcoating, just the facts as they stand. 10. We're taking a look at a 1978 Ford F-150 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace for $6,500. This classic truck has a lot of potential, but it's important to note that it's still a project vehicle. According to the seller's description, this F-150 is an original short-bed truck with a 351 V8 engine. While the motor does turn over, the carburetor needs to be adjusted, as the truck has been sitting for a couple of years. This is a common issue with vehicles that have been inactive for an extended period, and it's something to keep in mind if you're considering taking on this project. The exterior of the truck is finished in a red color, while the interior color is not specified. The seller mentions that the vehicle has a clean title and no significant damage or problems, which is a positive sign. However, given the age of the truck and the fact that it's been sitting for a while, it's always a good idea to thoroughly inspect the vehicle in person before making a purchase. It's important to be realistic about the work that may be involved in getting this F-150 back on the road. While the seller's description doesn't explicitly mention any major issues, a project vehicle like this will likely require some time, effort, and financial investment to bring it up to your desired standard. Overall, if you're looking for a classic Ford truck to restore or use as a base for a custom build, this 1978 F-150 could be an interesting option to consider. Just be sure to do your due diligence, assess the condition of the vehicle carefully, and factor in the potential costs of any necessary repairs or upgrades before making a decision. 11. We're checking out a 1981 Dodge D150 that's up for sale on Facebook Marketplace with an asking price of $5,500. This classic pickup truck has a few interesting features that might catch the eye of enthusiasts looking for a capable and unique vehicle. First off, let's talk about the specs. This D150 is equipped with a manual NP435 transmission, which is paired with a 225/6 engine. The truck has been driven for 80,652 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. The exterior and interior are both finished in a brown color, giving it a distinct vintage look. According to the seller's description, this truck runs and drives great, and it's capable of towing up to 4,800 lbs at 65 mph, thanks in part to the installed trailer brake controller. The seller also mentions that new door seals have been fitted and a few spare parts are included in the sale. One notable feature of this D150 is that it's a 4x4 model, which means it has the potential to be a great off-road vehicle or a reliable workhorse for those who need to tackle tough terrain. The seller has recently installed new 33-inch Toyo mud tires, further enhancing its off-road capabilities. The seller mentions that the truck has made several trips to Medford and back, handling all the grades at 60 mph, which suggests that it's in good running condition. However, as with any vehicle of this age, it's essential to inspect it thoroughly in person to ensure there are no hidden issues or potential problems. Interestingly, the seller is open to trading this D150 for a 2WD diesel manual pickup truck, but is not interested in automatic vehicles. This specific trade preference might limit potential buyers, but it could also be an opportunity for someone with the right vehicle to make a swap. Overall, this 1981 Dodge D150 seems to be a solid truck with some desirable features, especially for those who appreciate classic pickups or need a 4x4 vehicle for work or play. As with any used vehicle purchase, be sure to do your due diligence and carefully assess the condition of the truck before making a decision. 12. We're taking a closer look at a 1985 GMC Caballero that's currently listed for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $2,500 for this unique classic truck, which has logged 128,000 miles over its lifetime. For those who may not be familiar, the GMC Caballero was a coupe utility vehicle produced by General Motors from 1978 to 1987. It was essentially a GMC version of the Chevrolet El Camino, combining the styling of a pickup truck with the comfort and convenience of a passenger car. This particular Caballero is equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive for those who prefer not to shift gears manually. The exterior is finished in a blue color, though the seller doesn't provide details about the interior color. One of the most notable features of this Caballero is the engine. According to the seller, it's been fitted with a 5.3L motor, which likely refers to the popular Vortec 5300 engine used in many GM trucks and SUVs. This engine is known for its reliability and decent performance, making it a solid choice for a vehicle like this. The seller describes the overall condition of the truck as excellent, which is a promising sign. However, it's always a good idea to inspect the vehicle in person and request more detailed photos or information if you're seriously interested in purchasing it. Given the age of the vehicle, it's possible that there may be some minor issues or wear and tear that aren't immediately apparent from the listing. It's worth noting that the asking price of $10,500 is relatively high for a vehicle of this age and type, so it's important to do your research and compare prices for similar Caballeros or El Caminos in your area. That being said, if the truck is truly in excellent condition and has been well maintained, it could be a fair price for a unique and collectible vehicle. Overall, this 1985 GMC Caballero seems to be an interesting find for classic truck enthusiasts or those looking for a distinctive daily driver. As with any used vehicle purchase, be sure to do your due diligence, inspect the truck thoroughly, and consider your budget before making a decision. 13. We're taking a look at a 1978 Chevrolet C10 pickup truck that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $7,900 for this classic truck, which has been in their family since it was purchased brand new back in 1978. This C10 has a manual transmission, specifically a 3-on-the-tree column-mounted shifter, which is paired with a 250 cubic inch inline-6 engine. The truck has been driven for 122,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. One of the most striking features of this truck is its yellow exterior and interior color scheme. The seller has invested in several new parts and upgrades, including a new fuel tank, fuel sender, fuel pump, battery, dash, door side panels, windshield, and steering wheel. They've also rebuilt the carburetor, which should help ensure that the engine runs smoothly. The fact that this C10 has had only 2 owners and has been in the seller's family since new is a promising sign. It suggests that the truck may have been well cared for over the years, and that the seller has a personal connection to the vehicle. However, it's important to keep in mind that even with the recent upgrades and relatively low mileage, a truck of this age may still have some issues or quirks that aren't immediately apparent from the listing. It's always a good idea to inspect the vehicle in person, take it for a test drive, and have a mechanic check it out before making a purchase. The asking price of $7,900 seems reasonable for a classic C10 in this condition, especially considering the recent upgrades and the truck's family history. However, as with any used vehicle purchase, it's important to do your research and compare prices for similar trucks in your area to ensure you're getting a fair deal. Overall, this 1978 Chevrolet C10 seems to be a solid choice for anyone looking for a classic pickup truck with a bit of family history behind it. The yellow color scheme and recent upgrades make it an attractive option, but as always, be sure to do your due diligence and thoroughly inspect the truck before making a decision. 14. We're checking out a 1984 Ford F-150 that's currently listed for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $4,500 for this classic truck, which has been driven for 80,000 miles and has had only one owner. First off, let's talk about the good points. This F-150 has an automatic transmission, which makes it easy to drive for those who prefer not to shift gears manually. The exterior is finished in a clean white color, though the seller doesn't provide details about the interior color. Under the hood, you'll find a stroked Windsor V8 engine, which should provide plenty of power for both daily driving and hauling tasks. The seller has recently installed new plugs, wires, and a distributor, as well as a new fuel pump in both tanks around 5,000 miles ago. These upgrades suggest that the truck has been well maintained and should run smoothly. The truck has been lowered by 4 inches and leveled, giving it a more aggressive stance. It also rides on a set of American Racing aluminum mags, which add to its classic look. Now, let's address some of the potential drawbacks. The seller admits that the interior is rough, but notes that LMC makes all the necessary replacement parts. They also mention that the truck will come with a ton of extra interior parts from a donor truck, which could be helpful for anyone looking to restore the interior. The tires are from 2020, which means they may need to be replaced soon depending on their condition and how much the truck is driven. It's important to keep in mind that this is a 40-year-old truck, and as the seller points out, it's likely to have some issues down the road. However, they also state that it's an amazing daily driver, which suggests that it's in good overall condition despite its age. The seller is open to trades for a Dyna or chopper project or other vintage items, which could be an interesting option for someone with the right vehicle or item to trade. Overall, this 1984 Ford F-150 seems to be a solid choice for anyone looking for a classic truck with some nice upgrades and a strong engine. The asking price of $4,500 is not firm, but the seller also states that they won't give it away, so it's important to make a fair offer based on the truck's condition and your budget. 15. We're taking a closer look at a 1974 Chevrolet K10 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $6,500 or best offer for this classic 4A44 pickup truck, which has been driven for 150,000 miles. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 cubic inch V8 engine paired with a turbo 350 automatic transmission. This combination should provide plenty of power for both on- and off-road adventures. The seller mentions that the truck runs and drives well, which is a good sign for a vehicle of this age. One of the key features of this K10 is its 4x4 system, which the seller states is in working order. The truck also has manual locking hubs, which allow you to engage or disengage the front wheels from the front axle, providing better fuel efficiency when 4x4 isn't needed. The exterior of the truck is finished in a green color, though the seller doesn't provide details about the interior color or condition. It's important to note that the photos in the listing show a truck that has some visible wear and tear, which is to be expected for a vehicle that's nearly 50 years old. The seller mentions that the truck comes with a clean California title and up-to-date tags, which is a plus for anyone looking to register and drive the vehicle right away. They also state that they're not interested in trades, so potential buyers should be prepared to pay cash or arrange financing on their own. While the asking price of $6,500 might seem a bit high for a truck with 150,000 miles, It's important to keep in mind that classic 4x4 trucks like this K10 have become increasingly popular in recent years, and prices have been on the rise. That being said, the seller is open to best offers, so there may be some room for negotiation. As with any used vehicle purchase, it's crucial to inspect the truck thoroughly in person, take it for a test drive, and consider having a mechanic check it out before making a decision. Given the age and mileage of this K10, it's likely to have some issues or quirks that may not be immediately apparent from the listing. Overall, this 1974 Chevrolet K10 seems to be a solid choice for anyone looking for a classic 4x4 pickup truck with a strong engine and a working 4x4 system. Just be sure to do your due diligence and carefully consider the truck's condition and your budget before making an offer. 16. We're taking a look at a 1973 Ford F100 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $5,500 for this classic pickup truck, which has a lot of potential but also needs some work to be fully roadworthy. One of the most notable features of this F100 is its supercharged 302 cubic inch V8 engine. The seller has made several upgrades to the engine, including a Wyand supercharger, SVO aluminum heads, a Holley carburetor, MSD ignition, an Edelbrock water pump, long tube headers, electric fans, and an aluminum radiator. These modifications suggest that the engine has been built for performance and could make for a really exciting driving experience once the truck is up and running. The truck also has a 5-speed manual transmission, which is a great choice for those who enjoy a more engaging driving experience. The interior features a Dakota digital dash as well as the stock gauges, which is a nice blend of modern and classic elements. Underneath, the truck has a Mustang II front suspension setup and rides on Mustang wheels, which gives it a more modern and sporty look and feel. The seller notes that the body is mostly rust-free, with the exception of some surface rust on the driver's side floorboards. The frame also has some surface rust, but nothing that seems to be a major concern. It's important to inspect the truck thoroughly in person to get a better sense of the extent of the rust and any potential issues it may cause down the line. It's worth noting that the truck does not currently start due to the interior being torn apart. However, the seller mentions that they have had it running previously, which suggests that the engine and transmission are in working order. They also state that most, if not all, of the parts needed to complete the truck come with it, which could save the buyer some time and money in the long run. The seller is upfront about the fact that this F100 is not a perfect truck, but rather a great starting point for someone who wants to take on a project. With the asking price of $5,500, it seems like a fair deal for a truck with this much potential, especially considering the engine upgrades and included parts. As with any project vehicle, it's important to carefully consider your budget, skills, and the amount of time and effort you're willing to invest in the truck before making a purchase. Be sure to inspect the truck thoroughly in person, and don't hesitate to ask the seller for more information or additional photos if needed. 17. We're taking a closer look at a rare find on Facebook Marketplace, a 1971 GMC Sierra shortbed truck with an asking price of $9,800. This classic pickup has been driven just 73,000 miles and has had only 2 owners throughout its lifetime. Under the hood, you'll find the original 350 cubic inch V8 engine, which is paired with an automatic transmission. The seller mentions that the truck cranks easily and runs and sounds great, which is a promising sign for a vehicle that's over 50 years old. One of the most striking features of this Sierra is its unique turquoise exterior color, which is complemented by a blue interior. The color combination is sure to turn heads and make this truck stand out from the crowd. The seller notes that there is no rust on the truck, which is a huge plus for a vehicle of this age. However, they do mention that the driver's side front fender needs some work. It's important to inspect this area closely in person to determine the extent of the damage and what kind of repairs may be necessary. Another great aspect of this truck is that it comes with a clean title and is fully paid off. This means that the buyer won't have to worry about any outstanding liens or financing issues when purchasing the vehicle. The seller is asking $900 to $800 in cash for the Sierra, but they are open to entertaining possible trades. They mention that they also have a 1968 C10 step-side truck that they can add to the deal for the right trade. The seller seems to be mainly interested in diesels or other classic vehicles, so if you have something along those lines, it might be worth reaching out to discuss a potential trade. As with any used vehicle purchase, it's important to thoroughly inspect the truck in person and take it for a test drive before making a decision. Even though the seller states that there are no significant damage or problems, it's always a good idea to have a mechanic check out the vehicle to ensure there are no hidden issues. Overall, this 1971 GMC Sierra seems to be a great opportunity for someone looking for a rare and well-maintained classic pickup truck. With its original engine, low mileage, and unique color combination, it's sure to be a standout vehicle at any car show or on the road. Just be sure to do your due diligence and carefully consider the truck's condition and your budget before making an offer or agreeing to a trade. 18. We're taking a look at a 1968 Ford F100 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $12,500 for this classic pickup truck, which has been driven just 25,000 miles. Under the hood, you'll find a 302 cubic inch V8 engine paired with an automatic transmission. The seller mentions that they recently had the transmission rebuilt and have paperwork to prove it, which is a great sign for potential buyers. They also note that they've just installed new tie rods on the truck, which should improve its handling and steering response. The seller states that the truck runs and drives great, and that it's been a dependable vehicle for them. They mention that they run non-ethanol fuel, and sometimes mix in some 110 octane, which could help improve the engine's performance and longevity. The exterior of the truck is finished in an off-white color, though the seller doesn't provide details about the interior color or condition. It's important to note that the seller mentions the truck needs a paint job, so potential buyers should be prepared to either have the truck repainted or embrace its current patina look. One interesting aspect of this F100 is that it's sitting on a chassis from a 1996 Ford F-150. This could provide some modern upgrades in terms of suspension, braking, and overall drivability compared to the original 1968 chassis. The truck currently has the seller's Mustang wheels installed, but they mentioned that it will come with the black wheels shown in the photos. The seller is upfront about the fact that they don't have time to finish the truck, which suggests that there may be some additional work needed beyond the paint job. However, they also mentioned that it's been a great shop truck for them, which implies that it's in good overall mechanical condition. As with any used vehicle purchase, it's important to thoroughly inspect the truck in person and take it for a test drive before making a decision. Given the age of the vehicle and the modifications that have been made, it's also a good idea to have a mechanic check it out to ensure there are no hidden issues. Overall, this 1968 Ford F100 seems to be a solid choice for someone looking for a classic pickup truck with some modern upgrades. Its 302 V8 engine and rebuilt transmission should provide plenty of power and reliability, while the updated chassis and new tie rods should improve its overall drivability. Just be sure to do your due diligence and carefully consider the truck's condition and your budget before making an offer. 19. We're checking out a 1985 Ford F-150 that's currently listed for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $9,500 or best offer for this classic pickup truck. The seller mentions that the truck runs and shifts well, which is a good sign for a vehicle that's nearly 40 years old. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, which should make it easy to drive for those who prefer not to shift gears manually. The exterior of the truck is finished in a red color, which is complemented by a matching red interior. The color combination is classic and should appeal to fans of vintage Ford trucks. One positive aspect of this F-150 is that it's been paid off and has had only 2 owners throughout its lifetime. This suggests that the truck may have been well cared for over the years, as fewer owners often correlates with better maintenance and upkeep. However, it's important to note that the seller's description is quite brief and doesn't provide a lot of details about the truck's overall condition, mileage, or any recent repairs or upgrades. Potential buyers should definitely reach out to the seller for more information and ask for additional photos or videos of the truck. Given the age of the vehicle, it's also a good idea to thoroughly inspect it in person and take it for a test drive before making a decision. Even though the seller states that it runs and shifts well, there may be some wear and tear or minor issues that aren't immediately apparent from the listing. The asking price of $9,500 or best offer seems a bit high for a truck of this age without more information about its condition and history. Potential buyers should research the market value of similar F-150s in their area and be prepared to negotiate based on the truck's actual condition and their budget. Overall, this 1985 Ford F-150 could be a great project truck or a fun weekend cruiser for someone who appreciates classic pickups. Its red-on-red color scheme and two-owner history are appealing, but the lack of detailed information in the listing means that potential buyers will need to do their due diligence before making an offer. As with any used vehicle purchase, be sure to inspect the truck thoroughly and consider your budget and the cost of any necessary repairs or upgrades before making a decision. 20. We're taking a closer look at a 1961 Ford F-100 unibody pickup truck that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $12,000 for this classic truck, which has been driven just 65,000 miles. One of the most notable features of this F-100 is its unibody design, which means that the cab and bed are integrated into a single body structure. This was a unique design choice for Ford in the early 1960s, and it makes these trucks stand out from their more traditional body-on-frame counterparts. Under the hood, you'll find a 3-speed manual transmission with a column-mounted shifter, commonly known as 3 on the tree. This classic transmission setup adds to the truck's vintage charm and provides a more engaging driving experience for those who enjoy shifting gears manually. The exterior of the truck is finished in a clean white color, while the interior features a red color scheme. The seller mentions that both the paint and interior need some work, so potential buyers should be prepared to either restore these areas or embrace the truck's current patina look. The seller states that the truck runs and drives, which is a good sign for a vehicle that's over 60 years old. They also mention that it's very clean underneath, suggesting that the truck has been well maintained and hasn't been subjected to excessive rust or damage. Another positive aspect of this F-100 is that it comes with a clean title and is fully paid off. This means that the buyer won't have to worry about any outstanding liens or financing issues when purchasing the vehicle. As with any used vehicle purchase, it's important to thoroughly inspect the truck in person and take it for a test drive before making a decision. Even though the seller states that there are no significant damage or problems, it's always a good idea to have a mechanic check out the vehicle to ensure there are no hidden issues. Overall, this 1961 Ford F-100 unibody truck seems to be a great opportunity for someone looking for a vintage pickup with a lot of character. Its 3-speed manual transmission, clean undercarriage, and low mileage are all appealing features, while its need for some cosmetic work provides an opportunity for the buyer to put their own personal touch on the truck. As always, be sure to do your due diligence and carefully consider the truck's condition and your budget before making an offer.